Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bloody Good Horror. My name is Eric, and I will be your host for this evening. Bloody Good Horror back from summer vacation, and we are here tonight to discuss A Quiet Place Part 2. Spoiler alert, John Krasinski's beard does return. It does make a cameo. Never has a beard done more work for a single man than John Krasinski's beard. Caitlin, you look like you have thoughts.
John, I just wonder how jealous John is getting right now of like your misplaced
Yeah.
affections.
Sorry,
Dude,
bro.
I grew a beard here.
If you take some of those serums that allow you to actually grow a beard, then maybe we can talk. Joining me tonight, first up from Indiana, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
Next up from, where's she from? That's right, folks, Richmond, Virginia. Please welcome Caitlin to the show.
Hello.
And last up tonight, it's finally here. I can say it. From Manhattan, New York City, he's back, bitches. The pandemic can't keep him down, although joke's on him. It's starting again. Please welcome John to the show.
It's kind of keeping me down, Eric.
It's almost like we're welcoming you
like
back for the first time,
suppressing.
and it's like we're welcoming you back for the first time in a year and a half. Like, in your place has been this weird mid-Atlantic golf dad, weird mid-Atlantic golf dad person. Like, but you're like city schnorrs now. Like, you're back from the streets.
I did not play golf one time.
You looked
the entire time I was gone.
You really looked like it though.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be back. I will tell you, for anyone who just needed a reminder, moving is among the worst experiences a human can endure.
This is
so
why
yeah, I'm actually,
every time I move, I throw out a good 40% of my stuff.
well, I mean, we threw out a ton of shit, but I'm in New York by myself. Which is like good, in some ways. Like, I don't have to deal with the 3 kids while trying to unpack, but like I'm unpacking 5 people's worth of stuff by myself, and it's a lot.
John's living the Carrie Bradshaw dream.
You lost me at I'm alone because that's my favorite part. I think I could get into your situation, but we should swap for a week, John.
I'm also, as people may hear, I'm dealing with some new tech issues here. I set up my internet yesterday. A little hiccupy. So we'll see. I don't have my real rig, Eric. I don't have my rig.
But you did turn your air conditioning off for me, so it's just like old times, buddy.
I'm a pro.
John, with that said, there are also some changes happening at Bloody Good Horror that we wanted to address tonight.
Boy, howdy, Eric, are there changes. And it's not just my return to New York that you're referencing.
No.
Yeah, we've been on break for 2 weeks. Thank you for everyone for bearing with us. It was a weird time though here at Bloody Good Horror HQ. Right at the top of vacation, we actually, chatted with Cece, who let us know that she was going to be taking a step back. She just felt like it was kind of the right thing for her to do, given a lot of stuff that's gone on. And so it was tough, and we were sad. And then Joe also let us know over our break that he felt like it was the time for him to step back. And that was also very, very sad. But, these are, as you were joking about, it's been a crazy time.
You might say they're unprecedented times, John.
Yeah. People keep telling me that. No, but I mean, I think, look, like, a lot of people are reevaluating, and Joe and Cece both sort of, independently, kind of came to the conclusion that, it was time for a break, and we talked through it with them, but here we are, and we,
in 2021, I begrudge literally no one who's like, I need to take a step back and reevaluate the things in my life and how they serve me. Like, I think we should all be doing that at this point in our lives.
100%. I mean, and we are so thankful and grateful for everything that they brought to the show.
Yeah, for sure.
They were huge parts of the show for 14 years. And so, it's tough. It's tough. Anytime there's changes, it's going to be hard. But at the same time,
because the other thing, John, I was saying to you today, like, we have done this show now for a literal lifetime. Like, a kid born the year we started this show in some states is driving right now.
I mean,
that's messed up.
Yeah. 14 is just too young, let's be honest. But no, but No, you're right. Look, and 2 weeks was also like the longest break we've ever taken.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I mean, look, all that being said, this group here and the sort of extended Bloody Good Horror family, super supportive of Cece and Joe. The door's open if they want to come back, although that's not necessarily our expectation. But the good news is we have asked, and she has gratefully or graciously accepted Caitlin to become the fourth member of Bloody Good Horror, the fourth permanent member here. We've been just really excited, obviously, to have you all year joining us.
Yeah,
We're really excited about what you're doing with Plug It Up as well.
Caitlin has been the not secret MVP of BGH this year. So
you betcha.
100%. I mean, we're, like you said, we've been doing this for a long time. We built this to try to be something that we can do and be self-sustaining. It's not always going to be true for all of us all the time. I mean, some people remember Mark, who
I do on occasion, yeah.
So he's still around. We still hear from him every once in a while. But look, it is what it is. Regrowth, regeneration. Maybe this pandemic will end and we can all go back to living our lives again.
Two other things of note is also like we're going to use this opportunity on the show to bring on more guests. Like I would say, I'm not promising anything. You know, I don't like to promise things, John, but almost weekly we're going to be having different people on where we can. So this is going to be a mix of both people that have already been in the show, longtime contributors, newer contributors, and also people that you've never heard on the show. So we want to use it as an opportunity to bring on some of your favorites, but also, give some new voices an opportunity to join us. So that's going to be an ongoing initiative that's in the works right now.
And Caitlin has already let us know that she's going to be both as funny as Joe, but also as smart as Cece.
No pressure.
Which is really exciting. Right?
Readjust those expectations.
Caitlin, can you, no pressure, but I need you to fill the hole in my heart, if that's okay. There was a song about it by Extreme. The other thing, John, I think now we're not ready to talk specifics yet, but we're just largely taking this as an opportunity to look at everything we do across the board and look at sort of what needs to be refreshed, streamlined. What can we sort of look at and retool to be more of a service to fans, listeners at every turn? So we're going to be looking at Patreon stuff, looking at Bloody Good Horror, all that stuff. So I just, what I would do is just ask for a little patience from our listeners and just know that we're working on stuff. We're trying to become the new and improved BGH for you guys. So.
Well, and drop us notes, right? Drop us ideas as always. I mean, folks aren't shy about reaching out, but
yeah, and we're not, I would hope it doesn't need to be said, but maybe it does, that we're not going anywhere. We're just gonna keep on keeping on. So
what did Michael Scott say? You can send your constructive compliments to me and any complaints to Eric.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, and as part of stuff kind of changing, Caitlin has been kind of taking over Twitter for Joe. So if you've noticed less insults on Twitter, that's Caitlin. And I've been sort of, as of today, John, I guess I'm the Instagram guy. So that's what's happening. Somebody asked me a question about pizza and got a very Eric answer that we can talk about later.
Eric, if I read about you on the internet news next week about trying to get a free coffee and throwing a fit because you're an influencer, I'm going to be disappointed.
I do BGH's Instagram. Do you know who I am? I will admit
good luck with that one.
I will admit. So we, a thing that we are carrying on from Joe's legacy is the Tuesday questions because we've all really enjoyed it. So I will admit, though, it took me an embarrassing amount of time today to figure out how to reply/post my reply to somebody's question. But I did it, John, because I'm dedicated.
Now you're a pro.
Yeah.
Because I'm dedicated and I needed a distraction from my own work. So.
And you put GIFs on some of them?
Yeah, John's wife texted him to make sure everything was okay when she saw me on Instagram today.
The BGH questions aren't as blue anymore. What's going on?
Right. Love it. Well, I'm just getting warmed up, John. Give me some. I mean, I have worked blue in my career previously, so I think I can get there. Wow. I'm trying to find
I feel like Caitlin's got some, she can uncork some fastballs on Twitter when the time's right.
She's got a real weird one for us later that none of us can explain. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Thank you for those. Thank you to everyone for continuing to support the show and keeping these going. We very much appreciate you guys more than we can say. With that said, let's do it. Let's take a quick break and discuss A Quiet Place Part 2.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Come to prime time. Main feature.
And we're back. John Schnorrs,
Yes, Eric.
did your copies of Roget's Thesaurus make it with you to New York City? Your full set. Is that what
I
it
think
is?
they're
What is
in one of these boxes back here. I don't know.
Nice.
Can you see these boxes behind me?
Yeah.
So it's around.
it? All right, John. Well, let's see what you got. Please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word. It's echolocation.
I like
Guess
it.
what? I looked. Didn't use it last time.
Oh,
Yay!
that's incredible.
Although the first word that I wanted to use, I did use last time, so I had to go to
Which was
a
what?
second word.
Can I get that one too?
It was cochlea.
Ah,
Oh,
yes. That's an
cochlea.
ear thing, right?
Yeah, it's an ear thing. I don't remember.
You hear that, folks? Speaking of change, there's a list.
No, we I check these things every once in a while. So echolocation, it's kind of self-defining, I guess you'd say. It is the location of objects by reflected sound, in particular that used by animals such as dolphins and bats. I would say it is probably the defining characteristic of the.
hmm
I don't know. What did we have a name for the aliens?
Yeah,
here? Did they
they're
give them a
called they're called Cloverfields, is what they're called.
name? I thought they were slender men.
They're
Slend-
there's little slender.
Slender people.
Listen,
I don't
if
know.
they stood upright and put on a tux, I could see it.
Yeah.
I think the correct term was a Cloverfieldlet.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. They are very similar to the Cloverfield monster, but like 1/40th the size, probably.
I
something
will
like that.
remind you too, because I just googled it too. And I knew I had read this somewhere. The writers on the first film claim that they once pitched their idea as a Cloverfield verse movie,
Mm-hmm.
which
I mean, it makes sense.
I like these movies better if I just believe that. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest,
Didn't John Krasinski write these movies?
I
He
think him
wrote
and him
this one solo, I believe, and the other one was
they wrote together.
he was a co-writer.
Gotcha.
or
Okay.
something.
He did direct both films. He's a horror director now. Jim.
John, oh, you want me to
I
synopsize
think it's
here,
the
John?
beard.
All right, I got this, John. Ready? This is a Quiet Place
Yes.
Part 2. Okay. If
You
you
just
rec-
crack your knuckles like you're getting ready.
if you recall, at the end of the last
I thought he
movie,
was making the clicking noise.
if
like
you
the-
recall, at the end of the last movie, they finally at the end discovered that they could kill these things by making this loud shrieky sound that with the the hearing aid
the
to-
cochlear implant.
to a
yeah.
speaker causes feedback, which makes all their little head plate receptor things open up so you can just kill them with a gun, because otherwise they're impervious to the gunshots. So that's how the movie ends. It ends with them. I believe it ends like as a smash cut, kind of similar to this one, with them like killing that monster. So we pick up here as I can't remember if it opens on the flashback or if it opens on them. I think it opens
Flashback.
on the flashback.
It
So
does.
it goes-
starts with day one, and then
It goes back to this scene, and you have to forgive me because I have not seen the first film since we saw it in theaters. I believe we see a portion of this scene in the first film. I think we see Emily Blunt's part of this scene, but we basically get more this time around, I believe. Like we get all this interaction with John Krasinski. We see this thing like crashing above their baseball field, and we see a short scene with this Cillian Murphy character, sort of introducing him. So that scene's awesome. And then we come back to the now times, which is where they've just killed the monster. They're walking out. They have to leave their farmhouse because it's now like burned down and kind of infiltrated, basically. They basically wander I can't remember. The geography in the first one was like very important. I couldn't super remember, but they kind of wander into like it's a factory, right? And that's where they run into Killian Murphy,
It's like
who
a
Foundry?
steelworks. Yeah.
yeah,
Foundry.
Foundry. Good word,
Very
Caitlin.
nice. Could have been
So
a word.
he pretends to not know them at first. He's like, we don't have any food or water, but then they recognize him. His plan doesn't work very well, and so he sort of agrees to like stay with them briefly or whatever.
No, he tells them they have to leave.
Yeah, but then he lets them stay though.
He only. All right. So Eric, this
That's
is why I
later.
synopsized the movie, and you.
This is why I interrupt.
Yes. So they get there.
To be fair, you
Uh,
were like, I don't want to synopsize the movie. I was trying to help you out, buddy.
No, I know, I appreciate it, but here I'm interrupting to correct.
How rude.
So they get there. He has like all this like fancy stuff. Like he has. It's not really a vault. It's probably some kind of foundry or steel making device, but it sets up this gimmick where it's basically a sealed vault
it's
that's
safety.
solid iron.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, that the monsters can't get in, but there's only like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes worth of air in there. So there's a lot of that becomes pretty important later. But they get there, he basically saves them, but then tells them, you got to go. This is after they've like talked about their relationship. One thing I'm going to try not to go into like rant mode about a lot of the like loose ends that come up in this movie, but
You promised that you would.
no, I will. I just meant not right now. It was sort of unclear to me like what exactly their relationship was, because they kept referencing his relationship to the dad. The dad's Lee, John Krasinski, and it was sort of like, you're not like him. Maybe you are like, I don't know. It was like, were they best friends? I thought they were brothers for a little while.
Yeah, the movie is unclear. I think he's just a dude in town that they knew. I think her point about you're not him is more like now. Like you're not like, in other words, it's like you're not stepping up the way he did.
The other thing that you skipped over that is kind of important is they left the house because they saw the fire in the distance,
Right.
which was a signal.
And that was a
And
whole
so, like-
plot point in the previous film, was him lighting a fire every night to try to like communicate with people.
But if he like, so we're told it's day 470 or something. So this is like more than a year, like almost a year and a half into this. It was, I also didn't understand why he was lighting the fire to signal for them to go.
Because then
But
he
then
didn't
when they
want to
got
talk to
there, he
anybody. He,
pretended like-
was like, fuck off. Yeah, that's a good point,
Yeah.
actually.
So the reason he lets them stay, he doesn't actually let them stay. The daughter, in the like 12 hours that they're there, solves this like fairly elaborate puzzle whereby they get a radio transmission that says it's playing beyond the sea, beside the sea.
This is like some
somewhere
escape.
beyond the
This is
sea.
like some escape room bullshit.
Yes. So she realizes that it's coming from an island that's actually like only a day away from where they are.
Because of the lyrics
So
of the
she's-
song. It's like that Seinfeld episode.
Yes. Downtown. Yeah.
Downtown.
Did you go downtown, George? This song. The
Timely
No, so-
references.
so she leaves because she's gonna like save the day, and the mom basically tells Cillian Murphy like, you got to go after her, and he agrees. And then not only does he agree, but then the daughter talks him into helping her on, I don't want to say it's a cockamamie plan, because like it's pretty objectively like correct. Like there's no tension about whether or not there's something good on the island. They know that if they can get to the island, like, I don't know. So, but that's ultimately like,
I
they
would
don't get to
also
stay.
beg.
Everything-
I would
everything
also beg
happens
the
in that
question:
day.
like, if you have as much security as they have on this island, why would you be soliciting more people to come? Because I've seen I've seen enough of The Walking Dead to know that's not a good plan.
Eric,
That we're shown
we
there's
put a
bad
pin- can
people
we-
all around with boats.
Can we put a pin in that for 1 second?
Please.
Because like so that's the setup. I think we should like go into the review, because you're bringing up something that is immediately one of my big like, this movie is fucking ridiculous things.
Okay, Casey,
Yes.
what did you think?
So I was a big fan of the first movie. I loved it. I thought it was great, the tension and stuff, and the movie making it was well. And I really got sucked in by the story. So coming around for Quiet Place 2, I wasn't necessarily looking for the same tension or anything like that. My biggest goal was to figure out what they did with the story in the second movie, because after the end of that first one and the way they set up these aliens and stuff and their power and the quiet, it's kind of like a Bird Box situation. And then you're kind of like, what the hell do you do?
Dude,
So
I brought
seeing
up
what
Bird Box in this movie. It's very similar.
Oh, yeah. Seeing what they've done with this to expand it, though, for a second one, story-wise, I really like. I got into it. Not necessarily the plot. I mean, I guess there's plot holes, there's some stretches and stuff, but the concept of getting away, the high-pitched sound, weaponizing it, getting out to the islands and stuff, it was kind of straight up post-apocalyptic type movie stuff. And it's pretty typical for usually a second and third act of a movie, but seeing it in a second movie so it could be a little more filled out was interesting. But there's definitely a lot they could have done to make it even more interesting. And the tension was not the same. It wasn't quite as scary as the first movie, which is why I came away saying, I like this, but not as much as the first one.
Caitlin.
So I think it's a pretty decent sequel. I really like that, the first movie had so much tension between the dad and the daughter, and then she kind of moves into that same role and same personality type. I think Killian, I've been saying his name wrong all these years, apparently. I was going to go Cillian.
The only reason why I
don't
know
if that's
it is correct. Did you read my email, John? I worked with someone in Boston who was from Ireland. He had the accent and everything, who went to high school with Cillian Murphy, and he was the one who corrected me one day.
Well, I learned that today.
So there you go.
And I like, though, that Cillian Murphy's character even says, like, you're right, I am nothing like your dad. You are like him. Like, that it really, like, sort of, like, sets up that arc.
I like that
for
arc.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, especially given how important family is in these movies. It did get into the dystopian stuff that I don't like. I love dystopian fiction. I love The Walking Dead, and it got into the parts of dystopian fiction that really make me uncomfortable, like when they meet the rogue survivors who are bad people, and like one of the first things they do is take Reagan's like jacket off, and you assume that they're looking for stuff, but it's also like, ugh, like it just made me uncomfortable. Like it
becomes
threat of sexual violence.
It like becomes the road for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's where it was going, but
yeah. All right, John, you sexy little surfer man, what'd you think?
surfer man.
Man, you guys all said like 5 things already that I wanted to respond to.
I wasn't done, but we'll go to John.
Caitlin, I'm sorry. Don't let Eric cut you off. Oh man, how do I feel about this movie? So I would say that I tell people that I don't like the first one, mainly to be a troll, right? Like it is.
Did you say that on the first show? I mean, my memory doesn't work that way.
I think I was probably pretty positive. I mean, people can go back and listen, or I'm probably not going to do that, but basically, I remember at the time thinking, Jesus Christ, there are so many plot holes in this movie. All of that stuff gets carried forward here. So just really quick to put that aside for a second, it's really well made, right? Like Casey, you said like this one wasn't maybe as like sort of tense or scary as the first one. I thought this was pretty friggin' tense and scary. I will say like some of it for me is like the kids and parents stuff. Like maybe I'm just like going through it because I'm not with my kids right now.
I'm pretty sensitive to it more than I used to be, but it's we can talk. Listen,
yeah,
what they do, I cannot think of any justification for what they do to Emily Blunt and the baby character in this movie. Like they are not characters.
Oh,
they don't have a story.
Yeah.
They're like props for an editing scenario where they want to chop back and forth. Like that's the only reason.
But like, movie. No one has an arc in this movie except the arc that you all were just talking about, which is the older daughter or I guess the only daughter and the Cillian Murphy character. And even that, like hers is really the only one that you really care about. Everyone else is in this movie for sort of like tension
Just for tension.
delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's effective. Like there are at least 5 different sequences that are set up where you are legitimately holding your breath, like,
Yeah.
like, I mean, and they're very effective.
Dude,
And look, John Krasinski.
anytime the monsters are messing shit up in this movie, it's a good time.
The monsters are very scary, and just like how desolate and how alone these people are is very well established. I thought they did like another way to be nice about this film is that like it's very efficient. The movie's only like an hour and 35 minutes long. The plot, such as there is plot, is like delivered very quickly.
Dude,
I
I
mean,
thought for sure, I was like, oh, this movie's going to make me watch it for 2 hours. I know it. And then I looked, I was like, it's only 90 minutes. But but I also feel like there's stuff on the cutting room floor. There's got to be storyline somewhere.
There is, but I think they made the decision to like maximize tension, maximize sort of that visceral impact.
It's economical.
And yeah, which is like, I would say that's a good trait for the film. So all that being said, all of the problems with the first film, and like we can enumerate, like a lot of it starts with creature design. Like when you set up these creatures that use echolocation but they're like somehow like super at it. It's the most obvious thing in the world. You get like a white noise, you get a sonic weapon, like get any like.
Well, we see how effective like rain is or water in this one. I think they do that in the first movie too. Right, there's the waterfall.
In the first. Well, that was the big joke with the first one. Was like, why didn't they live next to the goddamn waterfall? Because like they like go to the waterfall, like have a conversation, and it's like
build a friggin' hut, bro.
Okay, so somebody raised earlier. My biggest problem with this,
they're like the Kool-Aid man. Like that's how they enter every scene. Like it's like sound, and then it's like, boosh, and it's like, hey guys, like my arms are long.
They're always around, but there's only ever just one of them around.
Yes.
So here's the biggest issue for me with this movie, and it's specific to this film because they introduced this idea of this island, and once they get to the island, this is like pretty spoilery, but like whatever. The movie's been out a couple weeks, so I feel like people have probably seen it. They reveal that they can't swim. This is like a pretty big reveal, and when they get to the island, the demon Huzu or whatever, somebody can tell me how to pronounce his name. I can pronounce no one's name in this movie. He tells them like, oh, like the government figured out like on that day that they couldn't swim, so we were like loading up all these boats. It's like, hold on a second. John Krasinski was supposed to be like this super like figuring out all the different parts of this stuff. The government knew and was like broadcasting to get on boats, and like somehow the family didn't figure that shit out. Like they live in Long Island. Go to the fucking beach and get on a boat. Just go live on a boat for the year. Like
my favorite part of that is like, so they get on the boat. First of all, like I didn't even occur to me until now. Those bad guys like had control of the docks and had a boat. You mean to tell me they've never gotten into they didn't even need to crack the code. Just get in the boat and tool around. Find yourself a little jetty or something like to just hang out on.
They were boat people.
Here's what's funny.
Went to the island.
And it goes two ways. Cause like, I think this is one, I think it's a really effective visual moment when they see the island, because what it is it looks like this like Fallout 4 like retro futuristic like chill Norman Rockwell thing. Like everyone looks like they're in a Gap ad or something, you know what I mean? But the problem is that like they turn it up a notch too high. It's almost silly how clean they all are and how okay, I get it, you guys like you can be chill enough to clean your clothes, but how did you all end up in like the 2017 fall Gap lineup? Like you're all in like the perfectly matching earth tones, and like it's just pretty funny.
They have gas for the car. Everyone's lights are on. It's like very picturesque.
But what I'll say is like, well, and I think that's effective because of the contrast and how everyone else is living. But it's like they overcalculated, they overturned that knob just like a little bit. I think, John, like your point, this movie succeeds for a lot of the same reasons the first one does. This very smart, economical use of movie tension. And I mean, the first film was so economical. There's like 5 characters in the whole movie. Nobody's talking. It's really an achievement in a lot of ways of filmmaking, especially genre filmmaking. I think my biggest thing coming out of this movie is that this movie didn't need a sequel, and I think this kind of proves it. So it's like, yes, it's effective, but I also don't think it really does anything to justify its existence to me at all. I think it's weirdly paced. It's like a 2-act movie, basically. It's like before the doc and after the doc, kind of. And then it does turn into a weird, leery, post-apocalyptic, evil people movie, but only for like
For
that
5
10-minute
minutes.
sequence, maybe 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more like 5. And the problem with that is like, sort of, you have to by necessity kind of decide how you're going to open their world up a little bit when you make a sequel. And the thing about the first film that really set it apart is it's like it's like a bucolic monster movie. Like, yeah, it's a monster movie, but the whole thing is about this whole bespoke, like hipstery, like we live with it, we're barefoot and we prance around our farm and we're like this family. That works for it. It's a really effective part of that storytelling.
Yeah.
But it makes this like dirty person, like dirt people, Walking Dead, rapey vibe feel way out of left field when it comes, even though like it makes sense because you're in a post-apocalyptic world. It's just that that's so out of
It's just what you do.
But the
in
other
the
thing, but here's the
post-apocalypse.
other thing. The first half of this movie traffics in that almost that exact vibe from the first movie, which is why then it's so I think if you're going to go that way, if you're going to go the dirt people route, it's got to be more woven into the movie. Like it's literally 5 minutes and then
Yeah.
it's done. I
Well-
thought for sure they were like going to show back up at the end, like after they fucked up the people at the dock or whatever. I thought that was going to be a huge plot point.
I think it will for the part 3.
Well,
Like,
but
he-
don't though. Don't do it.
Cillian Murphy, he does tee it up in a conversation, you know, where when they first arrive at his place, and he says something to the effect of like, you know, a lot of people aren't worth saving. I guess you haven't figured that out yet. Like he's had run-ins.
No,
with them.
totally. And that's like I get it from a personal standpoint. In our year of the Lord 2021, I don't need to see movies about what the apocalypse looks like because I'm living it in slow motion every goddamn day. Okay,
Yeah, well,
so like,
that's another part of it,
and
for sure.
it's just impossible for me to view that stuff in a vacuum now. Somebody in 20 years might go back to this movie and be like, "That's a really effective little thriller. I really dig that." For me, there's just parts of it that are like I'm not into. What I will say, and then I'll stop rambling at you in general, is that that scene though is really effective. I liked that it's resolved pretty quickly. I like sort of how they get out of it with the dirt people, but what I loved is when the monsters enter, because that's really where the money is in this scenario, where you have directed conflict between humans, and the monsters are then chaos agents, basically. It is like old school Doom when you make the monsters fight each other. Like that's kind of what this is. And I loved the monsters Kool-Aid Man entering and just knocking people off the dock. And every time that stuff happens,
There were 2 in that.
I don't even
scene,
like,
too.
you know, the slow monster stalking isn't even my thing, because it's like my ADD just makes me want to be like, do something. But when it's pure chaos and people are just getting tossed, I am 100% in on this movie.
I will say it's a little bit saccharine, but I loved like the callback from the beginning where like Cillian Murphy's character makes eye contact and he does like the little dive sign language. I was like,
Oh my
like,
God.
he's crying.
Caitlin, I'm
So-
so glad you brought this up because this was
You
one
hated
of my
it?
biggest.
I think I
this is
missed
one of my
that.
biggest pet peeves.
Okay.
So he learns the sign language for dive in the very beginning of the movie. Where does he learn it? At a baseball game. You don't say dive in
Yes,
baseball.
you
do.
do. Like you dive for home.
No, you
No,
slide.
you
you slide.
Well, that's also true.
Oh.
And isn't that like a decision the runner's really making in the moment, though? They're not like getting told to
Yeah.
do it.
No one look. I played baseball for a long time. I watch a lot of baseball. No
Mm.
one says dive. They needed to have him learn dive, and so they like.
You know what? You are even when they are physically diving, it's called a slide. I think you're right.
Yes, it definitely.
I know
is.
sports, John.
I'm an eternal fat kid, and I've heard it called dive before.
I don't
My
know,
uncle was my
dude.
coach.
Well, I don't know why wouldn't they just have him be like a swim team?
Also,
Yeah,
hey,
like,
John.
the whole
Hey,
thing
John,
is
you know what's a
fucking-
more effective thing than telling somebody to dive? You doing it and then watching you do it. And then they just know to do
Yeah.
it.
Um,
Yeah. I
Really
gotta say,
quick, 'cause-
Cillian Murphy he's awesome in this movie. And it's such a different, he's I'm so used to seeing him play creepers that the second he showed up, I was like, oh, he's a creeper. And I
Well,
was
I kept waiting for
pleasantly
him to turn.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised to just see him play like just a very normal gentleman who sort of has to, decide if he's going to rise to the occasion. Like I think
I
he
don't
does
know.
really good.
There was some history there. There was some kind of sketch history. I'm not whatever. They don't give you any of the background. But Eric, one of the things you said, and because I brought up the piece about like the kid stuff. It's more for me. I think it was even more than like seeing this during a pandemic and like, do we need this kind of like on the nose genre stuff when we're kind of living it every day? The inability of Emily Blunt and then obviously Cillian Murphy, whose kids were all dead, the inability of the parents to protect their children is just, it was such a kick in the balls. Like that's what made it like like we're getting ready to like send our kids back to school with the goddamn like pandemic like on fire, and it's
I
terrible.
just felt
it's like really terrifying.
At the point that we are using suffocating the baby as like a plot point for pure tension, I was like, I'm tapping out on this. Like I'm officially not on board with this as a movie trope. Like because so part of the problem with like Emily Blunt does get some stuff to do in the movie, but because she doesn't have really, she's alone for most of the movie. So she doesn't even get to non-verbally communicate with people. And like the extent of what she does is like, she has this moment with the cross where she kind of like leaves her wedding ring and that kind of thing. But in the third act in general, nothing for her character is resolving in the third act. Like she is placed in peril just so that they can cut back and forth between the two scenes to ratchet up the tension. And at that point, I was like, why is she even in this movie? Like, I want her to have more of a reason to be in this movie, I guess.
So that was one of the things that I was thinking about. And actually, I totally coincidentally was going to do A Quiet Place Part 1 for Plug It Up for Monstrous Motherhood, because she's a mom living in this world of monsters trying to protect her kids. And I got a little frustrated at first that that's what she's reduced to. Like, her whole character is protect the baby, get some, I assume, antibiotics for the son, get some oxygen. Like, everything she does is in service of her kids. But I mean, that's not like an inaccurate way to portray what parents would be like in like a dystopic.
You're not wrong. It's still a movie, but I take your point.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was something that I was thinking about, but I was like, I don't have kids, but I was also like, well, if I did, I'm sure that I would be in her same position. But I did find myself wanting a little more for her. Like, the most acting I think that we get from her is when, and John, this is where I wanted to come back at you a little bit. I do think that the older son gets a little bit of an arc because he's very scared for a lot of the movie, and he blasts the radio signal at the end and shoots the the alien, which is like, he gets his little like bravery.
You know
arc.
what I missed?
He gets a moment.
But like, the most acting we get from Emily Blunt is her. Like, we have a lingering shot on her face of like how, I guess, like in awe and proud she is of her son. So like all of her character is around her kids, and part of me wants to be like, give her more, and part of me is like, I mean, that tracks. Like,
Yeah, I just kind of took it as they were shifting the focus in this movie to the kids, because that's because like I've said that what the tension wasn't there for me for the first movie, and that's probably a misnomer. But like, knowing how all this stuff works now, because going into the first movie, we didn't know exactly what was going on, and that really doubled up the tension with the noise and stuff like that, and really had me hold my breath. Now that you know how the aliens work, it takes off a little bit of the edge of it for me. And so them shifting that focus of the movie away from Emily Blunt, because we already got rid of John Krasinski, and focusing on those kids and what they're doing and how they're putting themselves in peril, that for me is better tension for this movie where the mystery's already revealed.
Yeah, I really like the decision to have.
They were trying to.
I really like the decision to have the daughter like be the kind of main arc for sure. I have a question about the son. Why does he? Because I think I either missed something or they didn't explain it. And before I complain about it, I'd like to know which one happened. Why does he leave the hatch when Emily Blunt is gone? Is he just bored?
Curious.
Yeah, basically.
Also, bear traps like
he's
crush.
real dumb.
Bear traps like crush your bones into dust.
Yeah,
so the
he's not
idea
gonna
that he's
live.
just up and walking around is horseshit.
Tetanus. I was like, he needs a tetanus shot or he's gonna fucking die. And
No, but
It's not like
he's walking around like 12 hours.
It's not a
later.
flesh wound. It's not a flesh wound. Those things are like literal steel traps. Like it's not
She does even say like it didn't break the bone, like when they're
bullshit.
whispering to each
Yeah,
other.
that's not how that works.
She does. She did say that. Caitlin's right. They at least like make an attempt to explain it, but totally agree. No, that was my problem with him. I mean, Casey, you're right. Like it's not even a bad idea to have the kids be the focus. But Emily Blunt, like we still get several minutes of her walking to this drugstore. Like why
That's
not
true.
just like why not just don't show it at all? The boy, the whole time he's leaving, you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? Now, it was intentional. Like that was, again, it bordered for me on emotional manipulation
Well,
because
it's always
they
that's a
leave- he
fine
leaves
line,
the
dude.
baby.
Like because I understand that you use characters' emotional arcs to manipulate, but it's like there's a line where it feels like kind of gross sometimes.
It just feels like that's all they're doing. And you know, okay. I mean, it worked. Like I was emotionally responding. I am emotionally responding right now, but like
You sound
you know,
emotional, John, if I'm being honest.
yeah. I was having a lot of emotions watching this thing last night, so
Yeah, man, it's a ride. I will say, like, the image of the monster, like, crashing the Gap party is amazing. Like, to just see him running
yeah.
across that, like, very idyllic lawn and launching. I just love, you know what it is? Specifically, I love the people launching. I love the, like, they always crash into the scene. They just go like this and they just throw someone out of the
Yeah.
way.
So,
It's
but here's
awesome.
a question: what do the monsters want? Like, are they just there
Food.
to knock people around?
They want us to
but
shut
do
the
they
fuck
eat the
up.
people?
I don't know, John. What do I look like?
do they eat the people? Like, why are they just want to kill all the people? I mean, that
Apex
whatever.
predator. Also,
Some people just want to watch
may
the
be an
world
idiot.
burn, John.
I thought that they could fly. I was like, so they
No.
can't swim, but I thought they could fly.
You're
I don't
thinking
know, that's me
of
being
you're
dumb.
thinking of Tremors 2, which is where
I always am.
which is where the graboids morph and they metamorphose into like these little things that actually, John, have little sonar or no, like heat reading things that come up out of their heads. Then they in the third one, maybe it's the third Tremors where they fly. I think it's
Yeah, I think it is the third. I don't think it was in the
because
second
Tremors
one.
2 is called Aftershocks and it's very
thought-
very good.
I was gonna say maybe you were just getting confused with like 10. Does 10 Cloverfield Lane? Can they fly in that?
Something does.
Well, the way that they, like Eric said, the way that they like launch it, it's
Yeah.
very like, and they don't have wings. I don't know why I was thinking that, but yeah.
It's like a helicopter situation. They
Maybe
kinda,
you're
like,
thinking
spin
about all the
around.
people who fly through the air when they get launched by the monsters.
Yeah.
It is very Jurassic Park. Like when Cillian Murphy like hears the rustling in the boat, I was like, "Oh, the pterodactyl escaped Jurassic Park and is about to attack the
They're
people."
very pterodactyl. Yeah. What do you think? What's the theory on what's going on here? Like, do we think this was an accidental crash? Is this like a Prometheus style, like bio attack by another civilization that's just dropping some nasty shit on us?
Yeah. Well, so in the movie, in this movie, isn't in that day one scene? My understanding. So like he walks into the supermarket, John Krasinski, and he's like talking to the guy who owns the supermarket, and that guy is watching something on TV that I thought was
There's something about a missile or something.
It was.
Like,
Well, he was like,
it was.
he says, they think it's a bomb,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh,
they
that's
show,
so
like,
sad." Yeah.
Yeah, they show a split second of like people running away, like on the news. So my takeaway was these things are landing all over. It's more of like a Independence Day situation where they're like staking out all the land masses. But none of that explains what the aliens are there for because they're just running around like.
Well, my
solo
point
operators
is
killing people.
these aliens
Yeah.
were not flying the ship, presumably. So like they were either sent here in some kind of like bioweapon pod, or like or another alien was driving like a space prison kind of deal, like a space prison wagon,
did we
and these guys
know-
were in the back.
Did we know in the first movie that they were space aliens, or were they just assumed monsters and we didn't know where they came from? I don't
I thought they
remember.
were just monsters, but this one we literally get an image of
Yeah.
them like from the sky.
I thought that they figured out that, or they like suspected they were alien.
I
think
do
it's
have to say,
discussed in the
I
first one that they're-
identified during this movie that the way the like apocalypse opens up, this is like a top 5 genre trope for me. the in the moment quick destruction of society. Like, but I like
Yeah.
specifically that moment, like you're talking about, John, right before the screw turns, where like all you just hear some background noise of some shit going down, but you're still like, well, I gotta buy my bread to make my kid sandwich, and then like you turn around and the world is effed. Like that's I have realized like
That's
this
how it'll
Dawn
happen.
of the Dead, Bird Box, like The Mist. I love when the shit goes down real quick, John. And now I get why,
Yeah.
because it's not fun to happen and to watch happen
No,
slowly
it's
in real
terrible.
time. Yeah.
Can we jump back to the what do we want to call them? The doc people?
No.
Sure.
So it's been a year, right? Like, or maybe like a little more than a year. What was going on with their skin?
I don't know.
'Cause, like,
the
the
girl had
girl's
weird
skin-
eyes. Yeah.
The little girl, yeah.
Here's the other
She,
thing.
like-
Brilliant but stupid. The attaching the like shame bells to the guy. Cause like
Yeah.
cool idea, except you're standing right next to him. And have you seen what these things do to anyone in the vicinity of sound? Like that doesn't make any sense. But I love the visual of the little girl like being like rah, and then like attaching
Yeah.
the thing
I
to his
mean,
neck.
it's very episode 1 of The Walking Dead. You know, like a
But
little
the-
girl,
okay.
and you're like, ha!
But this
she's
is a
back.
microcosm of my problem with modern screenwriting in general. That a modern screenwriter gets to the scene and goes, "Man, wouldn't it be awesome if this girl looked up, was creepy, and then attached like dumb idiot bells to his neck or something?" You know what I mean? Like that would be such a cool visual. And they either never stop to think, but now they're making noise right next to them, or they think, well, I don't care, or nobody will notice. That when I say constantly in the show, lazy screenwriting, that's what I mean. Because you're either not
But
taking the
that's-
time
That's
to
like half of
be-
this
wait,
movie,
because you're
I
either-
swear to God.
it is, you're right, because you're either not taking the time to think something through that could be easily fixed, or you just assume the audience is too stupid, and that annoys me, John. I'm not
yeah,
that
I've
stupid.
already-
I totally agree.
They've already established that the monster, if you're standing next to the person with the bells, you're going to get killed from the monster just trying to get to that guy.
Well, I guess I don't know. Like the feral people either wanted to just have the other survivors around them die, like they wanted to like rob the girl and Cillian Murphy and like kill them, or like eat them. I'm like not totally sure. But
Well,
they were feral and like looked all
The whole
messed up. I don't know
problem-
what was happening.
There
The-
was tons of food around, like, because we see the family like getting food. Like,
I don't
there's no reason for them to like have weird skin and like be doing whatever they were doing. It was very strange. Get on a boat. Get off of the land. They're at the docks. It's so ridiculous.
You know,
Well,
it's funny,
Everyone can
the
see
boats
John's
are right
face.
there.
Get on a boat.
There's like multiple. That's not the only one either. So like
Yeah.
when he runs, like when they're on Gap Island, and he rounds the corner and sees that the boat's messed up, I was like, oh, some more people found him and messed their boat up. And then he
No, the
turns
boat
around.
drifted there with that monster on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't pick that.
Yeah,
up.
because one of the monsters got stuck on the boat, which they show you for like a split second. But then you're supposed to just like assume like, yeah, and then I guess the boat just drifted
So
across.
right. So
to
here's
this
what's
island. Like,
here's what's
I mean, boats
hilarious.
can
Here's
do
what's
that, but-
hilarious. This organized group of people that's lived there for a year and a half couldn't figure out how to get to this island with a whole dock full of boats. But this idiot monster got on one and accidentally floated there. That's what you're
Yeah.
telling me.
Yes,
And they don't
And
have
no one on
anybody
the
watching
island-
lookout.
yes, exactly. No one on the island saw it coming. It was the middle of the day.
Do you know how slowly boats like float into shore?
Yes.
It's
It-
coming.
It definitely would have
Oh,
gone like this
God.
too,
It's-
like in a little
It's
bit,
still
out,
coming.
in a little bit, out, like with the tide. Like it wouldn't have
Yeah.
just rolled right in.
Well, and Cillian Murphy just like hears it banging up against the fucking
Dude,
rocks.
that
and
is
it's like,
so
oh yeah,
so
I guess that's that
hilarious.
boat.
Yeah,
love
I
that.
didn't talk about the radio transmission that you talked about when you were mentioned it at the beginning of the show. Like, how did they miss the National Guard or the Army or whatever's announcement that their people are boarding boats and going to the islands? Because they established in that first movie that John Krasinski was monitoring all the airwaves and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's also the moment where the kids are like, "But our dad was monitoring. How come he didn't hear the music?" And Cillian Murphy's just like, "It's the valley." And it's just like it's the valley. Like John Krasinski never tried to listen anywhere else. Like he just
Suddenly
was
it's
I'm in
like
this
a-
valley. If there's no radio waves, I guess it is what it is.
Suddenly it's a Californian sketch.
Ah, god damn it. this movie.
I do want to point out, Eric, I thought you might come and be the defender of this movie on this episode, and I feel like, nah.
I didn't not enjoy it, but
Yeah.
you have to listen, it is like an effective, pretty economical thriller. It's not as good as the first. It's not as tight for sure as the first movie. And it could be fun. Like you could have fun with this movie
Yeah,
because it's
well,
tense. And the
it's-
monster shit is awesome. I'll keep saying that.
It's basically the horror equivalent of the Fast and Furious films. Like you just have to be like, a lot of stuff's not gonna make
Well,
sense.
I think
but
what bugs me is
monsters are cool.
you know what it is? It bugs me when they force sequels onto really classy movies. And even though the first one has some plot holes, it's like a pretty classy genre movie. And I hate when they're like, cool, sequel, boom. Like, okay. Because just because it was a surprise hit, really, not because it actually called for one.
Yeah, it would have been different.
By that, but
It would have been different though, easier to accept if this was something that they had dreamt up like 3 movies for before they first started the first one. They had it. If we knew that they had an agenda or something like that, instead of like what Eric's saying, you got this. Oh shit, that turned out awesome. Made a lot of money. Let's throw this together and see what comes out.
But I think my guess is when they greenlit that first one, there was already planned, because they left it in a place where there was obviously more story to tell. Yes, John Krasinski's dead, but now you have this ability that they discover right at the end of the film. Look, if anything, these movies I was thinking about this at the end of watching it. There's a lot of M. Night in these. With the dive.
That's not super fair. These are much better than most M. Night movies. Their heads are not as far up their ass as that, I would say.
This is what was the one with Mel Gibson and the baseball bat and
Yes.
water or whatever? Signs. Yeah, this is Signs. It's basically Signs. With better action. Don't get me wrong, but very similar.
The idea of aliens that can't swim coming to Earth to invade, it makes a lot more sense than aliens who die by water coming to a planet that's covered in 70% water. Right?
I mean, yes, it's still 70% water. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but there's large land masses that, if that's the only thing holding them back, the aliens can find a way, may figure out a way around the water instead of just dying.
Seattle.
My favorite was it reminds me of Signs, obviously. And I remember somebody pointing out, if you were an alien approaching Earth, it would be entirely blue.
Right.
You would see the water if you were rolling up on Earth. Yeah. Just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, and guess what? There's a lot of water. There's also a fuckload of tiny islands that the humans can just go live on and not have any problems with these aliens anymore.
Well, these ones are not. These ones are not. These ones are not
sure,
intelligent like these aliens, or seemingly. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's like when they talk about doing a movie on the Predator home planet, and then you have to picture a Predator being a crossing guard or a taxi driver or something. It's sort of it sounds better in concept than I think it actually would be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, do we think part 3 is just going to be really loud? They're going to be blasting that feedback sound, and it's not going to be a quiet place anymore.
Yeah, and it's going to be an hour and a half of people saying, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Although when you get this island idea thrown in there and the aliens can't swim, do you think this could bridge to Waterworld eventually?
Waterworld. I
just go on boats.
Yeah.
I saw Waterworld at a drive-in. 1990. When did that come out? 97? Does that sound right? Or 96?
No, that was earlier
before
than that.
Then. Yeah.
So I saw Waterworld at the drive-in. I was a kid. The first movie, Pocahontas.
Ooh.
The Disney Pocahontas, and then Waterworld. It was the only time I went to the drive-in as a kid. That's the only reason.
Killer double feature.
Yeah. I don't think I really understood the drive-in as a kid, if I'm being honest, because I was but I'm sweaty and there's bugs. I don't, and we're in the back of a car. I'm not comfortable.
I don't understand it now, and I'm.
Yeah.
We were flirting on both sides of the spectrum for Waterworld, by the way. It was 95.
Okay. I think I just like the drive-in. It's I like to know the drive-in is there. I'm not sure it's for me, John.
I took Delaney years ago. We took Delaney to my drive-in back home, Real excited. We saw one of the Shrek movies, like the third one. I was really excited for the experience, but it was like 105 degrees, I think, and the whole place was swarming with mosquitoes, and it was just a
Oh,
miserable
God.
experience.
I
Yeah,
saw
unless it's
That's a
like
disaster.
60 degrees out and no bugs.
Yeah.
I
don't know where to
saw
go.
in the I went to the drive-in one time in Florida, which the wild thing about the ones in Florida is they're open year round. And just like so old. And in the concession place were all these like I'll call them moths, but they were more like birds. I think they're like called giant wood moths or something. They have a wingspan of like 7 or 8 inches. And it looks like you're in Jurassic Park. And they were like flying around buzzing people's heads while they were waiting for their like garbage food.
Not to alarm you, but there's literally a moth that size on your shirt right now.
I actually just got nervous for a second. All right,
It's a
guys.
prank for those of you that are just listening.
Here's the moment of truth. Quiet Place Part 2. Would you recommend it, John? I think you're going to say yes.
I'm gonna say no.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I
You
jinxed
know
it.
what? Yeah, you did. You did. Because I was close. If you like Quiet Place 1, like, I don't know, just go watch this one probably. But
Caitlin.
Yeah.
Casey.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say yes. But like, just, you know, we take things seriously intentionally because it makes for better discussion. But like, you know, it's just a dumb movie. Just watch it. It's fine. It's good monster shit. If you like Kool-Aid Man monsters that just burst in and toss people, which who doesn't? And I think you're going to... That
Yeah.
action, you will get delivered that action if that's what you're looking for.
yeah. I had not thought of the Kool-Aid Man. That was a good call.
It's like
thinking.
his noise, and then everybody goes, "Eh," and then it's just like, "Brah," just like out of nowhere. It's
Yeah,
it's a good gimmick. Might as well run into the ground.
It works.
Here we are. All right, ladies and gents, that's going to do it for A Quiet Place Part 2. Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Tuesday night.
It's 30 years later, and right on schedule. The killings start up again. 6 so far, maybe more.
It's back and it's mad.
Take your pick, bird. Billy boy.
Something bad's going to happen to one of us.
Get out of Derry while you still can.
I'm going back in. This time I'm gonna kill it. Nope. Something's coming.
The thrilling conclusion of Stephen King's It, Tuesday night.
Hi, I'm Denise Crosby from Pet Cemetery and Mortuary and The Walking Dead, and you are listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
And we're back. info@bloodygoodhorror.com. It helps if I check my email before the show. Let's see what we got. Hey, we got a note from Alyssa on the book club. Hello, everyone. July's read, The Elementals by Michael McDowell. Hey, Schnars, are you not coming out of your speakers there? Because I'm getting feedback now. The Elementals by Michael McDowell was a huge success. So many readers enjoyed it. Highly recommended. For August, we'll be checking out We Need to Do Something by Max Booth III about a family stuck in close quarters during a storm when ... bad things start to happen. September is Hispanic Heritage Month, so the book club choice for patrons to choose from will all be by Hispanic Latinx authors. Thanks for letting me run the book club. I love our horror community. Sure, Alyssa, you've been killing it. Love that. So you can check that out. You can go to bloodygoodhorror.com. You can also look us up on Goodreads. That's like an ongoing monthly thing, the book club.
I'll just add to that. I started reading McDowell's The Elementals last night after seeing everybody's reaction in the book club, and I stayed up till almost 2 a.m. reading. So I blame Alyssa.
And I think they're on Reddit now, right?
Yes,
r/BGH Book Club.
you're right.
Oh, that's right. They moved to Reddit. Sorry, I'm just reading something quick. All right, we just got John breaking news. A very heartfelt email. I'm gonna change to my heartfelt email voice. Are you ready? This is from Chris. What a good time to get this. Chris says, "Hey guys, I'm a longtime listener of the podcast. I wanted to write in and say that this months the 10-year anniversary since I randomly discovered you on iTunes. Since then, so that would have put us in 2011, John. It was 10 years ago. Since then, I've kept to myself and haven't been that active in the community. In fact, despite being an early patron, it took me a few years to finally join the Slack channel. When I did, I happened to join right in the middle of someone discussing their pet passing away. Awkward. No, that's just Slack, Chris. That's okay. Like it's Slack is just a microcosm of life. We just experience it all together in our little pod there. Regardless of the fact that I've kept to being a lurker since then, this podcast has meant the world to me. And I wanted to tell you that seeing how you have all changed and grown over the years has been incredible and fun to see. Plus the changes you made along the way, adding Cece, giving Joe his bumper. They've been just as great. Moreover, the same can be said for the challenges you faced. R.I.P. Mark. I like that. Mark's dead. It seems you always take things in stride and make an enjoyable experience no matter what. What an amazing... This email was sent like 2 days ago, John. So he couldn't have known that we were going through even more changes. What a nice message. I'm glad to have had you all in my life for the past 10 years, as every time I've dealt with hard challenges, I've turned to you for a nice break from it all. We always like hearing that. And I also want to credit you for helping me to become an even greater horror fan, Joe Bob fan, and a semi-functioning adult throughout that time. Welcome to the semi-functioning adult club, Chris. I'm the president. Hopefully when the day comes that another meetup happens, I finally stop saying I'll be there and actually show up. Until then, I'll hold back in saying how each crew member is amazing in their own unique way. Thanks again for the past 10 years and hopefully for another 10. Sincerely, Chris from Orlando, who moved to Philly and now lives in Miami." Wow, that's a friggin' journey there, Chris. If we do 10 more years, John, I'll be 49, that's the thing. So yeah, that was a really cool email there. My friend Chris, I'm glad
was
I found
nice.
that. Let me see. I think that's it for emails. Really quick here. I guess that's it. info@bloodygoodhorror.com. Guys, let's be real. It's been 2 weeks. I might have missed some, but I'm gonna keep looking here. Casey, it's
Yes,
time.
Eric.
It's time to pass the torch to you, my friend, our new Twitter person, and then I will do some Instagram after that.
Alrighty. We have our hashtag out there, Ask BGH. Send us a question every week. Kate will be tipping you off.
I haven't looked at it. Has it continued to be Portuguese Grey's Anatomy cosplayers?
Sadly, no. And they left on a cliffhanger, too, according to Google Translate. First tweet up here comes from our longtime friend, Tracy, at TREXESDYD, Quiet Place 2. When did the baby eat? I assume she is breastfeeding, but when did that happen? Newborns eat constantly. Is she
I mean,
pumping
just
brown
the
formula?
idea. You know what the other thing that newborns do constantly, Casey? They cry. They also grow, which means this box that you've made to perfectly fit them like an iPhone is going to be good for 2 weeks. I can't hear you. I cannot hear you, John.
I remember
you
getting
look wonderful,
nervous in the first movie when they were building the cooler for the baby. I didn't know for sure where they were going. So
the baby box,
the baby cooler, the baby little coffin thing. It does make me nervous. I don't know when the baby ate, and honestly, I'm not a parent, but when you're breastfeeding, don't you need to consume a lot of food?
Calories, yeah. You lose weight. Yeah, you actively lose weight if you don't. Most people.
Feed that baby.
John.
Oh. Yeah. About the baby. Can you hear me?
Kinda.
The
yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you, John. This is going great.
Maybe. You're just gonna get me ranting about the baby situation.
So here's what it is, John. when you start talking, I can't hear you for the first second. So if you're going to say something, you need to commit to like a couple of sentences. How's that sound? Cool. Casey, continue, please.
All right, next up, Alex Jones. Of the panel members, who would each of you not want to be stuck in a quiet place situation with because you know they wouldn't be able to keep their goddamn pie hole shut?
I was saying this to Elizabeth while we were watching, like, this is how I would ruin it. Because, like, here's the moment where you'd forget what reality was the second you wake up and you roll over and go, because, like, I don't know where I am most mornings when I wake up. Like, you're not thinking I'm in the apocalypse. You just roll over and you make some noise. And that's when most people, I think, would get it.
I am a scream sneezer, which is like a big shame of mine, but like I'm a really loud scream sneezer, so I would die and,
Oh, man.
you know.
Is there a sneeze in any of these movies? Like some sneeze tension? I can't remember. The other one, like farting. Not everyone has control over their farts, dude. Like, and sometimes
like when you're asleep?
Yeah. People toot all the time when they're sleeping.
I was going to say, you figure we're in a post-apocalyptic situation. Eric and John, we've all slept in the same room before. There's not going to be electricity. I'm not going to have a CPAP. I'm getting left behind.
Oh, you're
dude, snorers, you're done, bro.
You're definitely done.
You're getting tossed by the Kool-Aid man.
Exactly.
Toot sweet.
I talk a lot, so I would also, in addition to scream sneezing, just not be able to shut the fuck up.
Same, Caitlin. Same.
Kid situation is unbelievable. I mean, my children don't stop talking. Like if they start talking, so
it is physical. So like the daughter in
Yes.
the first movie they mentioned here was 4. Dude, 4-year-olds, I don't care. You can tell them it's the apocalypse all day long. 4-year-olds cannot shut up. And it's not their fault. They do not own self-control yet.
Eric, I hate to tell you this, but that doesn't always go away because my 21-year-old still talks that much.
Well, we'll just be talking over each other then for our whole lives. It's going to be fun.
All right. Up next, we have at Drake Dangerson 1 writes to us, what's your favorite Cillian Murphy role?
Oh, that's a good
28
question.
Days Later.
I heard he's amazing on that Peaky Blinders show, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I tried to watch that, and I couldn't get completely into it, but he was good in that.
I really like him as Scarecrow in those Batman movies, but it's largely because I love the gimmick of like the hallucination gas. Like I think that's pretty brilliant.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's very good. Have you guys seen the movie Sunshine? Danny Boyle.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I've heard that's
I forgot
good.
about that one.
He's a good actor. I think he's good in everything he does for the most part. Yeah. It's like we haven't seen him. I mean, Peaky Blinders, I guess. But.
I love this, John, because it's like we're having a conversation and you're like doing the dishes or making dinner and you keep randomly wandering by and like 5 words come out as you walk by the door. Like, this is bullshit. Peaky Blinders.
All right. Next up, our good friend, ad attorney at Space writes, what is your favorite quiet place to relax?
Good question.
I used to travel for work a lot, and sort of like the chaos of traveling and then finally getting to a hotel and like cranking the hotel AC up so that it's like super like chilly in there and super quiet, putting in earplugs and just sort of like melting into the bed. That's a good quiet moment.
Yeah, man.
It is nice. I like that early morning hour when I get up, get ready for work and fix my coffee before everybody else is up and kind of, puttering around and checking my email and reading my news.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's some nice quiet time.
Can I try? Are you getting me? Is it better?
You sound
still doing
great.
The dishes? Oh, thanks, Kaylin. In Maryland, we have a screen porch. Big fan of the screen porch. Late night screen porch. Everybody else is asleep. There's like a little couch out there, outdoor couch.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Choice.
Nice.
I could dig that. All right, last up we have at Zombie Wasabi, who we have not heard from for quite a while.
Schnars'
I
trainer.
don't believe.
Schnars is
Yeah.
This is the lady who trained Schnars, I think.
That's what I thought.
She acts too.
Who-
She does movies, like indie movies.
Nice.
She's coming out with guns a-blazing here. Who would be the first to make a sound in the quiet place situation? I think it would probably be at All Right Fine, which is that guy Mark that you may remember from the show.
Who would be what? The best at being quiet? Is that what he said?
No, the first to make a sound.
Oh, Mark. I don't. Nah, Mark's pretty zen these days. I think he'd probably be cool. I wouldn't be cool with this. I'm not very quiet.
I mean, as Casey has already indicated, if we went to sleep, it could get ugly. But
because I know I
really
fart too.
Yeah.
Somebody would say something bad about Halloween 6, and I'd just be like,
and that's it for Twitter.
love it, dude. Instagram. I'm basically an expert.
Oh, Casey,
I'm
I
also.
think we actually missed one.
Oh no, Casey.
Well, I left it. I went ahead and skipped over that one for the moment, just because.
Okay.
Oh yeah, probably good.
Still in there.
I'm gonna trust your judgment on that, Casey. I'm also gonna make a policy change here. I am gonna say people's names on the Instagram questions. So if you do not want me to say your name, you should DM me and let me know. None of these are.
Are you going to use the handle or their
the
actual
handle?
name?
I only can see the handle. But if it's your name, listen, they're not writing into like a NAMBLA podcast, John. Like it's not I think it's okay. All right.
That took a turn.
First up,
Yeah.
Brian says #who Eric and #what he do with Joe. I searched Instagram to see if they had a dog is phone gif. They don't, but that's what I wanted to say. Let's see. Gag Me with a Chainsaw says predictions for Jordan Peele's Nope.
I mean, it's going to be really good, I would assume.
Eric, I liked your response.
Yeah, I'm a little angry at the poster because it's so obtuse. It's like, why? Why are you doing this to me? Like, tell me what this movie's about or don't.
But like, it's a poster. There's not a trailer yet, right?
I just don't like
It's
it.
just a poster, I think.
It was just like the announcement. That was like there is a movie. That's basically all I saw.
Oh, my mom actually was like, "Oh, did you see Jordan Peele's got a new movie coming out called Hope?" And I was like, "I think it's no."
That's amazing.
She's the best.
You may have spoiled her whole day, though. She's like, "Oh, that movie sounds good. Hope," and you say, "No, it's Nope." So no.
But yeah, I don't. It's you know what, Caitlin? Here's why. It's rare that I have that strong of thoughts about a poster, so I'm just gonna trust my gut on this one. That it's not cool. I don't like it.
I would say, as far as in the spirit of the actual question, my first guess is Aliens, just for going off the poster. But there's that little string of pennants or whatever coming off. It makes me hope some kind of weird circus. But you know.
This is a really good one. I have some thoughts on, but you guys go first. Is Halloween too commercialized nowadays? I mean,
like the holiday, not the films.
I think they mean the holiday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Is it? I mean, that's what it.
It's just. I mean, we live in a broken down, commercialized society. Like everything is commercialized.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
Wow,
we do.
you went fucking full dark.
We live in late stage capitalism, John. That's kind of the name of the game. Like. Nothing is sacred.
For me, what it boils down to, sorry, John, I was going to say, more than anything, I just love that I can get access to this crap easily that I love, where I couldn't as a kid. So it's kind of nice to have a pick and choose.
What I would, the same way that I would love mom and pop video stores, like I miss regional or even like single old. Like I remember going to Halloween, like there was a costume shop that we would go to every year. Like it's just Spirit Halloween is the thing, but it's, the fact that spirit business is alive and kicking is a good thing, I think, in general. John, you look just pregnant with thought right now.
I guess my feeling on a lot of this, it's sort of the same thing I would say on a lot of things, is like, just make of it what you want. Like you don't.
Well, I look at it this way because I look around. So some of this might just be shifting demographics, and it's a very like small sample, but like. I remember my parents' neighborhood when I was a kid being like packed with kids trick-or-treating and like every house was decorated. Now this might be like some boomer remembering the 50s of like in the before times. But I feel like there's a lot less of that now. And so like to me, anything that keeps Halloween going, even if it is commercialized, I'm into it. Like, cause I just feel like there's a lot less DIY Halloween spirit than I remember as a kid in general. So.
I mean, that's a big thing of it too. That's my common old man rant these days when we go out and set up our Halloween decorations or something and you look down the street and there's maybe 2 other houses on the entire street.
I remember it being more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And honestly, weirdly, the same way with Christmas. Not that I care about Christmas, but it's weird to see that change in like, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people go hog wild, but
You live in the
it depends
city,
where you
John.
are.
You live in the city. That doesn't count. That's not real America.
I'm all. I mean, like
Caitlin and Casey live in
more
real
all
America,
year.
John.
Huh?
I said Caitlin and Casey live in real America.
Oh, easy. I live in a city.
Okay, just Casey.
Suburbs.
Just Casey. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting question. Do we really need? This is from CHH 1138. Do we really need more Exorcist sequels? No, I don't think we need any.
I really did like the series, though. I will say.
The series was fun.
But sequels, I mean, isn't Chris McNeil, Ellen Burstyn? She's going to be a part of it, right?
Sure.
I mean, not that like changes your answer, I suppose, but
What I just
Who's
learned.
making it? It's somebody legit. I thought that was involved. No.
I'm not trying to be a dick here. How old is Ellen Burstyn? She's got to be 90,
she's got to be
right?
super old.
She's
She looks
definitely
old as Exorcist.
I mean, like she's looking
Jesus.
real like old
She
in
did.
Requiem for a
That's
Dream.
not like a. I didn't say she looked bad. She just looked old.
Requiem for a Dream was like 25 years ago almost. I mean, she was pretty old in that too. Real good question. What, John? Go ahead.
I just remembered something that I wanted to bring up earlier. It's not related to any of these questions, but the question did just make me think of it. Eric, did you see who the production company was on A Quiet Place Part 2?
No.
I think they did the first one too.
Trauma?
Our old buddies at Platinum Dunes.
Wow.
Yes, I
getting
did
back
catch
in the
that.
game. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And this whole movie had more colors than just amber, so that's cool. That's a good improvement.
I mean,
from previous.
they've grown.
Yeah.
They've grown.
They've gotten with the times. I like it.
Eric,
Mm-hmm.
it's the color of our energy.
I mean, it's not the color of energy. Next up, Tasha Lou 7. Will you be reviewing Quiet Place Part 2? You're welcome. P.S. Love the show.
Oh,
And then, John, I know you don't understand emojis, John, but then she gave us the heart face emoji where there's like hearts floating around. So feel the love.
She's going to be very excited.
Yeah. Next
Did
up,
you tell her that we were doing it?
I
this
did.
week?
I figured out how to respond, and then I did that. Next up, Paul JSSSS. Eric, do you still have the uncle traveling mat phobia? So for new listeners, John, wasn't really the show like okay, there was an Uncle Traveling Matt doll in my house that looked like the devil. You can find online if you Google it. It's terrifying. And I used to have like real legit nightmares about it. I was then, of course, tortured by it from my older brother, so which is really cool and chill.
It was like the Annabelle doll, where
Yeah.
it was just like
Yeah.
so obviously evil.
Yes, but now imagine your brother will do shit like wake you up in the middle of the night with it hovering over your face, like that kind of thing.
Annabelle did that, I think. That was like the sequel.
So I don't.
maybe.
My answer to this was like I don't know, but why push it? You know. Oh, this one's great. Okay, Emprezia, who did the review of Skinned Deep? They got it quoted. They got quoted for it on Amazon Prime Video. So I looked this up, John. We reviewed this movie Skin Deep in 2008. Let's see. So here's what it says in Amazon Prime. For his 2004 debut as writer, producer, director, this guy 100% wrote this, Gabe Bartalos created this, quote, demented gift from the B-movie gods, bloody good horror, about a rural clan of psychotic freaks, the killing spree, quote, that takes us places and shows us things we've never seen before, Dread Central. You see that, John? We were quoted above Dread Central. No
Wait,
big deal.
who did you go and look up who did the review?
Well, I'm getting there, John. I'm reading this.
Oh,
And
I
the
thought you
final
did.
girl that may be their depraved undoing. What does that mean? Starring Warwick Davis and Jason Duger. Is that like of that show with the Mormons, the Dugers?
Oh, God, I hope
No,
not.
that was
Just
that
kidding.
was-
So
That's a Duggar.
Duggar.
That came
Thank you,
before.
Caitlin. So I looked it up. It's our boy Todd, who I would say he's the most prolific writer. He probably might still edge Luca, only because like Todd, no BS, wrote 2 reviews a week for years. Like he never missed a week.
Yeah.
Because he just liked doing it. Like he was like a superhuman. And also, so Todd Rigney, he is now an indie director, writer. He did the movie Found, which we reviewed.
which we saw at Horror House.
Just a fantastic indie movie. So
I don't think he directed that one, just to be fair.
I think
he wrote it. It was based.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
he
write it.
wrote it. That's right. Which is awesome, dude. That's, you know, a BGH fam done good, John. So there you go. And
He's even got a couple novels out there too, because Found was originally a novel, I believe, that he wrote.
okay, so his legacy now living on Amazon Prime. So that's pretty cool. That was I just
skinned deep.
Skinned deep, yeah. And I just forgot what I was doing midstream. I'm on Instagram. Here we go. John, I can't answer this question because food, but Jeff Harkin says famous Ray's or famous original Ray's or Joe's original Korean barbecue. I responded, I have celiac and I like. Let me tell you about fiber.
So that's, you may not know this, but that's our buddy Jeff Harkins, my buddy from growing up.
Okay.
He designed the Reanimator shirt /
Oh god! Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
The best.
I need another one of those, by the way.
Hey, bro. Yeah. But I said Joe's. I mean, I don't think it was a serious question necessarily, but Joe's Pizza is probably the best.
Wasn't that a whole thing on Seinfeld? When Kramer was
lost?
Well,
there was a whole thing about Ray's and
he's like, I'm in front of Ray's Pizza, and he's like, which one? He's like, oh, like that.
Famous original Ray's, or
Prisoner 007. Did you secretly kill Joe and are now wearing him as an oversized trench coat? The answer is yes.
Come on, Eric. You'd have to get that tucked in a little bit if you were going to look at it.
This is Chris. Bone-in or boneless wings? I'm pretty good with either.
Yeah, whatever you want to
I'm
give me.
fascinated by all of the various vegan wings that they do on
cauliflower
on that show there, Hot Ones.
Hot Ones.
Well, they have cauliflower ones, but they're also definitely some that are just some like weird fake meat situation.
Seitan.
Yeah.
Seitan's pretty good.
You know what I learned yesterday? Speaking of vegan meat, that corn, you know that stuff, is made out of like fungus protein. I thought it was made out of corn because why the hell would you name it that? I read a whole article about how the like fungus that they make corn out of is like a new thing now because they're finding new ways to use it with the whole like meatless meat boom. And they're like, yeah, corn. I'm like, what idiot came up with that? Like, I got angry about it reading this article.
It's all about sustainability too, though, right?
Well, yeah.
Fungus is pretty easy to keep going.
Of course, it's easy, but corn. What?
Corn. I was vegan for a very long time, and I never really got into corn. Are we
there
gonna
a
get in
problem?
trouble?
How is it spelled with a Q? Like
Q-U-O-R-N.
I'll be honest, I don't get the Seton thing or whatever that stuff. Like that stuff looks like a goddamn nightmare to me, and I don't care what you do to it.
It has the texture of meat. Like I feel like if I'm gonna go for texture, like that.
You ever seen just a block of it though? It is a wide awake nightmare. Like.
Yeah, I mean, so is meat.
Okay, you got me.
My question is, why do we have to have a substitute corn?
It's not though, Casey. It's just meat. That's my point.
Okay.
It's called Q-U-O-R-N or some shit, or Q-O-R-N, and it's just a thing you see with like Morningstar Farms and all that stuff. It's just a meat substitute.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was a substitute corn, and I'm like, but why?
Casey, because you are thinking the way this person should have thought, this conglomerate, when they named this crap. Like, I'm so angry.
Well, to be fair, I'm also from Indiana, so.
Right. Like you got threatened that they were trying to replace corn.
What the hell are you guys talking about?
I think that makes sense.
Back up, bro.
I get it, dude.
Get off our corner.
Oh my God. Absolutely amazing. Well, fellas and ladies, that's it for the Gram.
Very abrupt, Eric. Very abrupt. I need more warning when you're on the last one.
I think we're also we're gonna be maybe doing a little less theatrical and a little more just. I think we're gonna get real wet and wild, John, with our movie picks here. So why not?
I mean, I demanded that we embrace the Delta variant, but you
Hot girl summer is over.
Suggested.
Hot girl summer is over. It's now the dawn of Delta, and it's time to go back inside. So here we are. But yeah, so we're definitely gonna be doing like Halloween and Candyman. Like, we're gonna get to the big stuff, but we're gonna start being a little more experimental in the kinds of stuff we do. So please, if you have suggestions, send them in, and I'll probably ignore them, but maybe you'll get with something.
Look, and we're gonna hit Green Knight whenever it's streamable.
Yeah, all this stuff comes out eventually, and now the window now is super short. So like it'll be a lot shorter amount of time when we can get stuff. So there it is, John. BGH Onward and Upward. That's our review of Quiet Place Part 2. Caitlin, welcome to the crew.
Thank you.
We're so
glad
to
good to be here.
And that's going to do it. Don't forget, guys, you can help support the show, keep us going, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. You can see a live stream of this show, which if you were doing that tonight, you could have seen Schnars' hair being damp, which is, giving me the vapors. So
Got like some mermaid action.
yeah, I
going
mean,
on,
it's
really.
real good. Like you look like a guy in a Squatch ad or Dr. Squatch soap ad or whatever.
Hey,
Casey
Schnars,
knows what I'm talking
I don't know
about.
what the fuck. But...
Schnars, can you real quick say for me, all right.
I'm not going down this road.
But yeah, I love it. So check us out. Hit us up on social. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.